Curses. A Dresden Files short story by Jim Butcher. Jim Butcher is the best-selling author most known for his urban fantasy series, The Dresden Files. He also writes the Codex Alera series. Butcher lives in Missouri with his wife, son, and a ferocious guard dog. Most of my cases are pretty tame. Someone loses a piece of jewelry with a lot of sentimental value, or someone comes to me because they've just moved into a new house and it's a little more haunted than the seller's disclosure indicated. Nothing Chicago's only professional wizard can't handle, but the cases don't usually rake in much money either. So when a man in a $2,000 suit opened my office door and came inside, he had my complete attention. I mean, I didn't take my feet down off my desk or anything, but I paid attention. He looked my office up and down and frowned, as though he didn't much approve of what he saw. Then he looked at me and said, "Excuse me, is this the office of—" "Dolce," I said. He blinked. "Excuse me?" "Your suit," I said. "Dolce & Gabbana. Silk. Very nice. You might want to consider an overcoat, though, now that it's cooling off. Paper says we're in for some rain." He studied me intently for a moment. He was a man in his late prime. His hair was dyed too dark, and the suit looked like it probably hid a few pounds. "You must be Harry Dresden." I inclined my head toward him. "Agent or attorney?" "A little of both," he said, looking around my office again. "I represent a professional entertainment corporation which wishes to remain anonymous for the time being. My name is Donovan. My sources tell me that you're the man who might be able to help us." My office isn't anything to write home about. It's on a corner with windows on two walls, but it's furnished for function, not style. Scuffed up wooden desks, a couple of comfortable chairs, some old metal filing cabinets, a used wooden table, and a coffee pot that is old enough to have belonged to Neanderthals. I figured Donovan was worried that he'd exposed his suit to unsavory elements and resisted an irrational impulse to spill my half cup of cooling coffee on it. "That depends." "On what?" "What you need and whether you can afford me." Donovan fixed me with a stern look. I bore up under it as best I could. "Do you intend to gouge me for a fee, Mr. Dresden?" "For every penny I reasonably can," I told him. He blinked at me. You're quite upfront about it, aren't you?" "Saves time," I said. "What makes you think I would tolerate such a thing?" "People don't come to me until they're pretty desperate, Mr. Donovan," I said, "especially rich people, and hardly ever corporations. Besides, you come in here all intriguey and coy, not wanting to reveal who your employer is. That means that in addition to whatever else you want from me, you want my discretion, too." "So your increased fee is a polite form of blackmail?" "Cost of doing business. If you want this done on the down low, you make my job more difficult. You should expect to pay a little more than a conventional customer when you're asking for more than they are." He narrowed his eyes at me. "How much are you going to cost me?" I shrugged a shoulder. "Let's find out. What do you want me to do?" He stood up and turned to walk to the door. He stopped before he reached it, read the words "Harry Dresden, Wizard" backward in the frosted glass, and eyed me over his shoulder. "I assume that you have heard of any number of curses in local folklore?" "Sure," I said. "I suppose you'll expect me to believe in their existence." I shrugged. "They'll exist or not exist regardless of what you believe, Mr. Donovan." I paused. "Well, apart from the ones that don't exist except in someone's mind. They're only real because somebody believes. But that edges from the paranormal over towards psychology. I'm not licensed for that." He grimaced and nodded. "In that case," I felt a little slow off the mark as I realized what we were talking about. "A cursed local entertainment corporation," I said, "like maybe a sports team." He kept a poker face on, and it was a pretty good one. "You're talking about the Billigoat curse," I said. Donovan arched an eyebrow and then gave me an almost imperceptible nod as he turned around to face me again. "What do you know about it?" I blew out my breath and ran my fingers back through my hair. Back in 1945 or so, a tavern owner named Shaughness was asked to leave a World Series game at Wrigley. Seems his pet goat was getting rained on, and it smelled bad.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.